were only about 25 chaplains when America first entered the war, and by the time the armistice was signed in 1918, there were over 1,000.
World War I was the war that sort of brought chaplaincy into being as an institution. You know, that there was a need, and not only for Catholic priests, but other ministers of various faith denominations to be present and with their particular soldiers and all soldiers to serve their needs.
I think one of the biggest things that surprised us was just how involved the Archdiocese got. Both priests and lay people in parishes really threw themselves into the war effort in a way that I think had never been done before.
If you were to put what's a one-word role, one-sentence role, the chaplain, I think is just to remind soldiers and their families that God is with them in the most mundane of situations and sometimes in the most extreme of situations.
There were two very important tasks that the chaplains saw to for the troops, and they were confessions and burying the dead. Both of those were very important to the troops in different ways. Men would wait in line for hours the night before a major battle to give their confession to a priest before they went, as they called it, over the top. A lot of what the chaplains did was as much for the families back at home as for the soldiers themselves. They knew that the families at home would probably never be able to visit a gravesite in France, but to be able to assure them that their son had had a Catholic burial was very important. So we actually have an image of a chaplain presiding over a funeral in France, and this is Chaplain Francis Duffy. He was the chaplain of the fighting 69th Regiment. Father Duffy was their chaplain from about 1915 through the end of the war. He saw his most important task as burying the dead, and toward the end of the war wrote a letter home just lamenting the fact that he had witnessed so many deaths and that he was able to go home but had to return home to tell the mothers of the fallen soldiers, you know, that their son had been killed in battle. And after his death, a statue was actually erected in his honor in Times Square, known as Duffy Square, and it still stands to this day.
Obviously, you're with the family at the time of death of someone that they love, and your whole job, again, not just a job, but is, you know, you hope that you just let those people who are enduring a terrible loss be aware of the fact that God is with them in this, you know, terrible experience. And, you know, freedom has a price, and it's a very expensive price. And you know, we're meant to, I think, each and every day of our life to remember that and use our freedom in a responsible way.